So Shelby Oaks was directed by Chris Stuckman, and it's about this woman who's finding her sister. Her sister went missing so long ago, and when clues come up saying that her sister may actually be alive, Camille Sullivan, who plays the lead character in this movie, she goes to this place known as Shelby Oaks to try to find her sister. So this was a movie that I've been looking forward to for a while now. I've been a fan of Chris Stuckman's YouTube channel since high school, which was over a decade ago, which I'm like, wow, I can't believe I've been watching his videos for that long. And I was very excited to hear that he was finally making his dream come true of having a movie on the big screen that was finally going to come out, and we were finally going to get to see this movie. I did contribute to the Kickstarter for it. My name is actually on that poster with all the names of the people who contributed to that movie, so I thought that was really awesome. My name's not in the credits, unfortunately. I stuck away all the way through the credits to see if my name was on there, and I guess I didn't contribute enough money, unfortunately, but I got my name on the poster at least, so that's really cool. And so I was really excited to see what this movie is going to be like. It was being released from Neon, which I thought was really cool for a movie like this. Had all these big names attached to it, and all these people kind of came together, donated money to make this dream project come true. And having seen the movie, I think this movie is pretty good, but it's not amazing. Am I mad that I spent money on this movie? Absolutely not. I'm actually glad that I got to spend money on this movie. But is it the best movie I've seen? No. So let's start with the things I do like about this movie. First off, I do think some of the actors do a fantastic job. Camille Sullivan, who plays the lead character, I thought she was really good in this movie. She carries the entire movie. Whether she's a lot of her acting is very emotional, which I thought that was very well done. Like when she's reacting to some of the scenes involving her sister, I thought that was really cool. I thought when she's doing some investigation herself, I thought that was really cool and well done. Keith David also has a brief scene in this movie. I would say around the end of the first act. His scene is actually really cool. It's not enough. I wish there was more Keith David in this movie. Robin Bartlett also appears in this movie at some point. I thought she was pretty good for her role in this movie. But those are the three that really stand out, in my opinion. I do really like the found footage aspect of this movie. Usually, I am not a fan of found footage movies, but this one I'm like, okay, this one's actually kind of interesting. It actually kind of makes sense. Like the first 10 minutes or so are a documentary, and it kind of feels like I thought that was very interesting. But then when it cuts to the actual movie itself, it's a little jarring at first, but it's like, I don't know if I would have liked to have seen it as a full documentary. Kind of like that movie Strange Harvest from a few weeks ago. I don't know if anybody else saw that but me, but it was very interesting as well. I do think that this movie is very atmospheric. I do think that the jump scares in this movie actually do work. There are moments where it's like, I know it's coming, and then it's like, okay, it got me. And it's actually something that's actually scary and that I'm supposed to be terrified by. That, I think, works in this movie. And also, I think, based on this movie, Chris Stuckman is going to be a very visual director. He has sequences in this movie without any dialogue whatsoever. I would even say that the entire second act, there's hardly any dialogue in it. So I thought that was pretty interesting as well. And I do think that, when if he makes another movie, I hope he focuses on, showing and not telling, which I feel like he's doing really well with this movie. But I'm going to talk about some of the things about this movie that I didn't really care for. First off, there were a couple characters in this movie that I felt like they really didn't need to be in this movie whatsoever. Like, as much as I liked Keith David in this movie, I felt like he didn't really contribute much to this movie. Again, could have used more Keith David. Also, the main character has a husband. He's kind of useless in this movie. He only appears in a few scenes. Doesn't even appear in the end of the movie. He's not even helping with the investigation and such. So it's just kind of a throwaway character. Doesn't really add much, unfortunately. Also, there are some creative choices in this movie where I'm like, okay, why would you go in this direction? There are some implications of one of the characters in this movie. I'm like, did you really have to go in this direction? I felt very uncomfortable by the fact that it's like, oh, it's another one of these movies where it's like, this character is used for this purpose, and I'm like, please don't. And they did, and I felt that was very uncomfortable. Also, there are some moments where it's like, okay, so there's a moment early on where there's like, you've seen people kind of talk about this already, and I kind of will call it out too. It's like there's blood on the main character's face at one point, and I understand if it's like, there's scenes that happen afterwards, like what causes the blood on her face and such, and it makes sense, like in various scenes like that happened afterwards in the timeline, but there are some scenes that take place hours later, and she still has blood, but she doesn't look like traumatized or anything. I feel like that could have been explained a little bit better. Maybe the husband could have come in and be like, "Hey, why don't you clean yourself up a little bit?" But she would be like, "No, I don't." I feel like there could have been a few explanations for that. Also, I'm not going to dive deep into the ending, but the ending, I felt like there was a lot that happened in the ending. And the weird thing is at the ending, a lot happens the last 2 minutes of this movie, and I felt like that was a lot for those 2 minutes. And I felt like it was very I don't want to say jarring, but it's like I definitely needed a lot more closure for this movie, and I felt like the ending itself could have been longer. This movie could have had another 10 minutes to kind of go into a little bit more detail, and instead it just feels very abrupt. And I'm just like, wait, that's the end? Okay. And I felt like, yeah, it could have done a little bit more with the actual ending itself. But overall, is this a solid debut? I definitely feel like this movie is definitely first feature. Like, obviously, anyone who knows the story about this movie knows that this is Chris Stuckman's very first feature-length movie. Obviously, it's his first movie in theaters. But there are times where I'm watching it like, yeah, this feels like someone's first movie, unfortunately. And I don't like saying that. And it's like there are definitely some filmmakers who, they've made movies and like their first feature actually doesn't feel like a first feature, but I feel like this one definitely does. So what I hope that if Chris Duckman makes another movie, I hope that it has like a lot more substance. The ending's better. I hope some of the character work is a little bit better as well. But I do think that there are aspects of this movie that are very well done. I think Camille Sullivan is great. I do think the atmosphere is great. I do think some scares are very effective. I do think that the second act, where there's hardly any dialogue, also really works, and you still get invested in the story. And also, I do think that Chris Duckman appears to be a very visual storyteller rather than someone who just says, let's throw out all this exposition. Do like that. And even though I don't like some of the character work, I don't like the ending, I do feel like there are aspects of this movie. I think I liked it more when I was watching it, because I actually watched it like days before it opened. But I kind of feel like days afterwards, I'm like, I'm not in love with this movie, but I respect it. I'm glad I gave money to the Kickstarter. I'm glad Chris Duckman got to do his dream movie. And, Chris Duckman, if you do wind up watching this video, I'm very proud of you. I'm excited to see what you do next. So, there's that. I'll give Shelby Oaks 2.5 out of 4 stars. Stream it. So, who are your favorite movie YouTubers? Besides me. Comment down below, subscribe to the channel. This is Pat, and stay safe.